Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll go through some of the main newspapers here in Spain as we have been doing in recent times, see what is in the news here in Spain. We'll look at El Mundo, El País, RTVE, the state broadcaster, and El Confidencial. Then we'll go into the comment section and check out what is happening there. And there are quite a few comments on yesterday's video, so we'll take a look at some of those. Now, last night there were more riots going on in some cities here in Spain, so that is going to dominate the press again today. But apparently the Prime Minister has spoken. He has decided to come out and condemn the violence, saying that that shouldn't happen in a democracy, and we'll check out what he has to say in the newspaper now. So let's get straight into El Mundo, and we can see here on the left, Sánchez rompe su silencio después de 3 noches de disturbios. Una democracia plena no admite la violencia. So Sánchez has broken his silence after 3 nights of riots. In a full democracy, there is no room for violence. So the Prime Minister, Mr. Sánchez, finally deciding that it's a good time to break his silence, come out and, as I said before, condemn these violent acts that have been going on in various cities around the country for the last 3 nights now. Barcelona, Lleida city in Catalonia as well, Madrid. I think we also saw Granada and some other cities around the country have also experienced these violent acts in recent days. As we know, the riots started because a rap artist here in Spain was sentenced to 9 months in prison. I think he got another 2.5-year sentence yesterday because he threatened a witness a few years ago. So he seems to be a fairly violent character, this Pablo Hasél, and the riots apparently, as I said, triggered because of his sentencing. But there's a lot of people that think that that is not the case. These are the same people that are behind a lot of the riots here in Spain. Violent youth groups that are extremely well organised. You only have to see the damage that happened yesterday in Barcelona. They were burning traffic lights. Such were the flames they managed to achieve yesterday in that city. But basically any excuse to take to the streets and destroy everything that gets in their way. And just below that article about Mr. Sánchez, we can see an article about who these people might be. So we'll click on that one. And we can see here from this headline, Viejos conocidos de bucaneros y rodeo el Congreso entre los detenidos por los disturbios en Madrid. So apparently some of the members here, well known to police, viejos conocidos, and they belong to groups called bucaneros and surround the Congress building, rodeo el Congreso, and these are the people that have been arrested as a result of the riots in Madrid. And they also say in the by headline that 4 members of the Rayo Vallecano Supporters Club, that's a football club here in Madrid in the neighbourhood of Vallecas, and various activists from other groups. So there you go, viejos conocidos, people that are well known for this type of behaviour, the ones that have been arrested. And as I said before, it seems that these are people that look for any excuse to go out into the street, cause violence and do damage to public property. So that is what we are dealing with here in Spain at the moment, especially in some of the big cities. Now we'll go back into the news because there was an article here about tourism. So we'll click on that one here and see what they say. And it is that the government has confirmed that the Fitur convention, which is a tourism convention, will be held at the end of May and announces that it will be the rebirth of tourism in Spain. And the tourism minister, Reyes Maroto, is also ensuring that the Mobile World Congress will go ahead this year. So Spain's main tourism expo, Fitur, on again this year, according to the tourism minister. Also the Mobile World Congress, which was cancelled last year, of course, due to the pandemic, and I imagine that the Fitur was also cancelled last year. But some interesting words there from the tourism minister when she's saying that this will be the rebirth of tourism in Spain. So she is very, very optimistic about tourism this year. And let's be honest, we've been getting mixed messages from politicians about tourism. The Prime Minister came out a couple of weeks ago and said that he didn't expect tourism to be up and running again this year anytime soon. But the tourism minister, as we can see here, talking about the tourism renaissance or rebirth here in Spain this year. So let's see what happens and whether or not these 2 conventions, these 2 very big conventions, take place or not. Let's see. Now we'll leave El Mundo, we'll go into El País, have a look what is happening there. The main news there on the left, similar to what we saw in El Mundo about Mr. Sánchez condemning the violence. And there's an article just below, we'll click on that one, and it is Las rimas que llevaron a Hasél a la cárcel. The rhymes that sent Hasél to jail. The rap artist has been sentenced to prison for praising the terrorist groups ETA and Grapo and asking them to start their attacks again. And we'll just zoom up on a couple of these comments so you can check them out for yourself. And here's an example of one, merece una bomba televisión española, so the Spanish national broadcaster deserves to be blown up, and various other comments about politicians should be killed. So again, I'll ask the question, where do you draw the line on free speech? Is it okay to say things like this and potentially incite violent acts. And I saw another interview with this rapper Mr. Hassel that has been circulating on the internet, and it was a fairly disturbing interview. It seems that this person has some psychological problems, a very violent individual, and he thinks that the only way to solve the problems in this country are through violent acts. And that could be another reason why the judge decided that it was a good idea that he's in prison rather than on the streets. Now we'll leave El País, go to El Confidencial. I think we're going to find similar news there as well, but we'll have a look at the health information as we normally do. We'll get past the ad there about Rafa Nadal, and we'll have a look at the map. Now, as we can see, the colours on the map have changed. The maximum amount of cases is now down to 400, and the only part of Spain with an incidence rate above 400 is Madrid. We'll click on that and see what the numbers are there, 456. And we can see that places like Extremadura that 3 or 4 weeks ago had very high incidence rates are now down to 159. The Valencian community has also done very well, now down to 334, and Andalusia now down to 375. And we can see on the graph on the right that we're well past the third wave here in Spain. Now we'll scroll up and see if there's anything that catches our attention. We'll click on this one here about how much all of these riots and damage to cities is costing. And we can see here that Madrid estimates the damage bill from the riots at around 200,000 euros. And in Barcelona, they've estimated around 500,000 euros. So Madrid estimates that is what the damage bill is. So thanks, rioters, for that 700,000 euro bill. As a taxpayer here in Spain, I'm more than happy to help pay for the damage that you have caused to those cities. Now we'll leave El Confidencial, we'll go to the state broadcaster, see what is happening. We'll scroll up and see if we can find something. And we can see the Interior Minister here, Mr. Marlaska. Click on that one and see what he says. And we can see that the Interior Minister or Home Minister, Mr. Grande Marlaska, is defending the work of the police against the minority that makes use of violence. And he considers that these are unjustifiable attitudes in a democracy. So the majority of politicians here in Spain condemning the violent acts. We saw the Home Minister there. We saw the Prime Minister earlier in the video say something similar. And the only main political group not to do so here in Spain, I believe, is Podemos. But we'll see if they change their mind as the situation heats up in coming days. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Now we'll leave the news there and go into the comment section, see what has been happening there. And we'll have a look at this one here from Shamra Shon. Don't know why it's coming down, but don't think restrictions, because in Madrid centre, every day I see crowds in shops, cafes, etc. practically throughout the day until the curfew kicks in. Yeah, Shamra, thanks for the comment. It's not easy to know exactly why these numbers go up and down like they do. The restrictions obviously have something to do with it, especially in the other parts of Spain. We saw before in Extremadura how the numbers have come down drastically over the last few weeks. Valencia also have managed to get their numbers down, and the different autonomous communities around the country with the different restrictions in place have managed to get the health situation into better numbers. Madrid, as we saw before, is now the worst performing area in Spain. It's also the part of Spain where the economy is most open. As you said, there's lots of people out and about all day in shops, cafes, restaurants, etc. until that curfew kicks in now at 11 PM, but it was down to 10 PM before. So the numbers in Madrid coming down, but they're not falling as fast as they are in some other parts of Spain. And the good news is that this particular part of Madrid that I live in here is having its restrictions lifted on Monday. So we are going to be free to leave this municipality for the first time in 4 weeks. So that's good news. One here from She Saves, He Invests, They Travel. Stuart, there are some strange comments on your video today. You might want to clean up your comment section. Yeah, guys, thanks for the comment. I did notice that there were a few strange comments left after yesterday's video. One in particular on a comment that you guys left. Somebody talking about Donald Trump, I think, and it had nothing to do with the comment that you guys left. But unfortunately, this has been a trend over the last year or so. Lots of people have different opinions about different things. When you talk about topics like riots, vaccines, travel restrictions, and all of those things, you can get a lot of strange comments. The only option that I have is to turn the comment section off, but I don't want to do that. But I don't have time to moderate all of the comments, unfortunately. I have a few filters in place, but I can't stop every comment from getting through, and it's impossible for me to go through something like 400 comments on yesterday's video and weed out all of the strange ones. I do my best, but it's not easy. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Try to refrain from leaving strange comments. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta mañana.